The Northwest Net Zero Hub is an organisation funded by the Department of Energy Security and Net Zero.
And we've been set up to provide capacity support to local authorities and to organisations across the country who are working on net zero projects. LEAD is the Local Energy Advice Demonstrator project. There's funding that's come out of central government, which has been passed through the hubs in order for us to give support to organisations that are working across the Northwest to trial innovative ways of providing energy and retrofit advice to hard to reach communities, people with seldom heard voices. These people are often the ones who find themselves in energy poverty and living in poor quality housing.
Retrofit basically means making homes more energy efficient. It's the upgrading of windows and doors, insulation and heating to make a home warmer, more comfortable.
So the LEAD project is looking at innovative ways to deliver in-person advice, and we've got quite a lot of innovation across the Northwest. The various approaches that we've used for in-person advice in order to overcome challenges and barriers, in order to get people engaged in the subject, and also potentially making installations within the home so that they're taking action in order to retrofit and make their home more efficient for the future. The partners who deliver LEAD across the Northwest are Cumbria Action for Sustainability. We have Energy Projects Plus, who are based in the Liverpool City region, Pure Leapfrog, who are based around Warrington, and they're actually targeting private sector landlords. We have Carbon Co-op in the Greater Manchester area, as well as Greater Manchester Combined Authority, and Rossendale Valley Energy, who are based in Bacup and deliver in Lancashire, and also Groundwork, who the particular project is based in Blackpool.
Spaces like this where residents can come in and see and touch and get an idea of what retrofit measures might be applicable to their home. So we've got examples of like internal, external wall insulation, and we can talk about the retrofit process. We can talk about grants and funding opportunities that are available to people.
What LEAD funding allows us to do is provide a fullness to that client's experience with us.
I think the ability to go into people's homes where they're comfortable is a great help in sort of putting them at ease. I think what we're doing really matters because we're putting knowledge into people's hands, so the thermal imaging is a great way of allowing people to visualise problems in their home and potential solutions.
We've continued to build relationships through the councils, through the NHS, and I think over the years we've just become quite a good place for people to be able to trust what we do is genuine, legitimate and helpful.
One of the innovative projects that we've got in one of our partners, Your Home Better, who have got a mobile engagement vehicle so that it demonstrates to residents whenever they're out in the community with the vehicle that this is how this new technology works, this is how it could work in your home.
I think there's something really special about in-person engagement and being able to put a face to the name and have that conversation one-to-one, and people really value that.
Retrofit can do a number of things to benefit people. It can help with improving energy bills. It can create a warmer home. It can help people with chronic health conditions live in a warmer home, which puts less reliance on the health system. People who are generally warmer in winter have less illness and can make residents happier.
Energise Manchester is one of the projects that's been funded by LEAD over the last 2 years to do energy advice that's built with community groups. And over that time we've built up loads of experience in what works and what doesn't work in communities and refining it. So community centres are always at the centre of figuring out what is the best thing for their community, and then out of that comes our energy advice programme. At that point they are in the best position to be able to listen to the energy advice that we're giving, but also hear the experience of their peers where the whole of themselves is being considered, and hear it from people who you can really relate to.
It's really nice to meet other people that are kind of having similar issues and also trying different things, so I kind of learnt from them. And definitely would be interested in finding more about kind of what grants are available or what might be coming up in the future.
That's one part of the programme, and the other part, which we think is really important, is around supporting those people to share their knowledge with their friends, their family, their neighbours. We've got so many community groups who are asking for closed workshops where we deliver it specifically with them. And we've got people who've been on our mailing list who have not got round to coming along to our workshops who are saying, when's the next ones? So we just need to find a way of continuing the work that we've done so that that momentum isn't lost in the 5 different places that we've begun the process.
Is the partnership that we've got with B&Q. They've set up an energy advice hub in 2 of their stores in Greater Manchester, and through that they're able to engage with customers in that DIY space. And one of the reasons that we wanted to trial that is because, you know, when people are going into a DIY store, they're already in a headspace of thinking about what improvements they can make to their home, and that's been really successful in terms of getting people interested in retrofit, but then also taking advantage of the discount code off of energy saving products that they are selling in store.
It's great to work on a programme that benefits people, and you can really see impacts straight away on people's lives. We've got residents who come to us and say, my home is warmer instantly, or, you know, I've seen a difference in my heating bills.
And the more that I work in this area, the more I find that climate justice isn't something that can happen without economic and social justice. And so more and more often we talk less about climate and we talk about money, we talk about quality of life, we talk about, you know, access to basic human rights like heat, affordable heat, quality housing and good food.
In Cumbria that's heightened because we've got more solid wall buildings than most, and the grant system in short is not well equipped to deal with those buildings. Past 2035, which is the government's retrofit standard, most people would agree had really good intention, but in practice we're not seeing that. Clients are not getting quality communication from grant-funded installers. They're left unsure, uncertain as to what's happening, and often backing away from having work done because they don't trust it. A grant system that can accommodate complex and higher risk buildings, as well as those with easy wins, would really enable clients to move forward.
What we're learning from the LEAD project is building more relationships with grant providers that install in Cumbria. We can engage with the grant landscape a little bit more. Having that relationship with the grant provider that we've got at the moment helps us really understand the grant structures so that can inform our advice and we can adjust that for the clients.
You know, this is one of the reasons that the LEAD project is so interesting, because we are providing a climate change intervention essentially, but it is focused on that, you know, the money in the pocket of the people who are struggling most and have to make the decisions between heating their homes and buying food.
I think the broader challenge with retrofitting the UK housing stock is we've set a target in 2050 to meet net zero, and we know that 25 to 30% of our emissions actually come from how we heat our homes. So we need to reduce this if we're going to meet net zero targets by 2050.
We chose landlords because 35% of all households are within the private rented sector, and obviously that's a huge number and we need to deal with that. We know that landlords get bombarded all the time from all sorts of different organisations trying to sell them stuff, and we kind of found that we probably fell into that category to start with in this project. We found that really using relationships with local authorities to help spread the word about what we were doing gave us that kind of like gateway in terms of trust. We definitely saw a shift in the way that people were looking at retrofit since we started, particularly since the government announced that they were going to push landlords to up the energy efficiency of many properties by 2030. That was a really key moment and a turning point for us in the project. We could be more effective in the future if we had high certainty around the policy direction, and that includes both how far retrofit needs to go for homes and how we measure it.
In the northwest we have just over 3 million households, and we have about 88% of homes on the gas grid. So there's a huge scale and challenge to meet, to retrofit our homes, not just for climate change, but also for the comfort and health of our residents. In the Northwest, we also have a higher number of homes in fuel poverty, and just over 50% of our homes or households have an income under £30,000. So the need for retrofit and supporting our residents is high.
One of the main issues we tend to find with installers is that a lot of them tend to work off a financial basis and not with the client's benefits in mind. So unfortunately we'll end up trying one installer, but unfortunately if the job isn't enough money for them, that'll get turned down, and then the client will have to go months longer in that same situation. And sometimes it can take us 2 or 3 installers to find someone that will actually do the job.
Eco4 is a government scheme which covers the entire country. So you get people travelling from all around the country to do work here. I've had clients in Liverpool have installers from Edinburgh travel down to do the work, and that seems a long journey of potential costs, extras and things like that. Could be mitigated by having more centralised or local contractors. Clients say they would rather have a local contractor do the work than someone from far away. That would improve it, it would streamline it. It'd also allow for, if something does go wrong, there is more local accountability that people can react on. The difficulty of getting the work faster is something that's a struggle with the schemes because it takes time. The schemes aren't very upfront with how much funding they can access and what they can do to improve. Having that kind of upfront for people would be better.
I'm interested in how we can learn from the LEAD projects and continue to deliver advice to those that need it most. But I'm also interested in how we can scale up that advice to really meet the challenge at hand and deliver retrofit to those millions of homes.
I think where we've looked to provide engagement and advice, and where that hasn't worked well, is where it's been more generic. Whereas when we've been able to give more tailored advice to residents, they've really benefited from that and really take that on board to start their journey towards retrofitting their home.
If I'm honest, the biggest difficulty engaging with the audience is the uncertainty around funding streams, the difficulty for people of accessing eco, and the way that schemes are designed so they don't join up with each other. We've been taking people through the GM Retrofit portal, getting them to qualify, and then finding that those people are still not getting any measures done, even though they have opened themselves up to us in terms of proving themselves ill enough or poor enough.
Not only are we providing findings back to central government to help inform policy going forward, but through creating these series of videos, we're hopefully able to share the learning and the fantastic projects and innovation that has been captured across the Northwest to a wider group of peers and people who are interested in this sort of subject matter. I think the learning that we've had from the LEAD project and from our partners has shown that there is a massive need for further work in this area. The housing stock in the UK is some of the poorest in Europe, and one of the largest sources of our carbon emissions. So not only are we needing to focus on this for the well-being of the people who live in poor quality housing and are struggling with their energy bills, but tackling this area will have a huge impact on our carbon emissions.
Now I've had the Green Doctors implementing simple changes for me. It's warmer. My bills are less, and that's a lovely feeling, because it's horrible to feel that I'm dipping into my savings regularly just to keep warm. It made me feel less worried. And it was so easy. I didn't have to go looking anywhere because they came to me.
My role now is quite often just the facts and the figures and the reporting, but it's hearing those stories and getting behind those numbers to see the people. What we'd like from a future development is to have more funding available for people to be able to get retrofit for their property. So at the moment, the biggest barrier we have with taking people through the entire process is affordability, particularly here in Blackpool. If there aren't grants and funding available, or perhaps they're just earning a little bit over threshold to be able to get that fully funded, they're not going through with it.
As part of this project, we helped develop an app that we call Fairer Warmth. This started off as a sort of energy advice platform, so people could put in their household information, just a tiny bit of information like your postcode. It pull lots of data and try and give you a bit of a recommendation on what you could do next and any grants you're eligible for. So this was a system that we created. It kind of helped with that early engagement, so people could get that very specific information about their home, and then it would provide some advice.
The way John's designed the app for reporting purposes matches perfectly with the KPIs for the report, so that means it just makes life so much simpler. So there's this whole blended approach to giving advice.
One of the other issues we have, as well as educating people about what can be done and what is feasible, there is funding out there, but there are so many different potential routes a customer can go down. People simply get lost and give up on the process, which is why we're here to help and direct them to the best sources of funding where they exist.
And I was talking to a woman last week who we've helped. She's got heating now for the first time in 8 years. That's, you know, she's just so grateful for what we've done. I remember one of our energy advisors, Joe, got a text message off someone she'd helped saying, I've got heat and I can go and have a hot bath. You know, and that's just something that everybody else takes for granted, isn't it? But that to her it was massive because she'd had no heating or hot water.
We also hope to achieve with these videos to show people that in-person advice is needed, it's required, but also we've made some mistakes along the way. We've learned from various challenges, we learned how to overcome some challenges, we found some things difficult, and ultimately we want people to learn from what people are doing out in the field. If we can share outcomes, share our learnings, share knowledge and move forward together. It's not simply a case of putting installations in people's homes, it's about making an impact on their lives and improving their health. And that's what we care about at the end of the day. And the reason why I love doing the job that I do is that I know that we're having an impact on people's lives and that we're part of the solution moving forward to try to achieve net zero by 2050.